Assurance Committee, Tony.
Yes, I have one point. That's on the update of air quality that I need to bring to the attention of the board. If you remember, Boris, at the last board meeting, I drew your attention to the Clean Air in London report. And following that, on August the 2nd at SHAC, we had a comprehensive report, I must say that, placed before the committee, and which in the main we fully accepted and supported. However, there is one area of deep concern, and I'm reading from the actual report before us, 6.1, the last sentence, which reads, due to funding constraints, there are measures that...
4.1, did you say?
No, I'm reading from the Czech report.
Oh, yes.
For the benefit of the board. Due to funding constraints, there are measures that will be beneficial to air quality and that are not possible to deliver unless additional funding is provided by central government. Now, if you remember, with that Clean Air in London report, it indicated very clearly that there was over 1,000 schools where pollution levels were dangerous, my word, and our youngsters were getting asthma, and also early deaths in elderly folk as a result of pollution levels in London. To compound that, I just read a report in today's media about a study in the British Medical Journal that found that high levels of pollution can increase the risk of suffering a heart attack. This is supplemented by the Campaign for Friends of Earth, which says that in London alone, 4,200 deaths occur as a direct result of pollution. Now, we fully supported, I must say, fully supported that report at that meeting. But it would be wrong of me not to draw that to the board's attention, that the worries and concerns about the lack of funding which will reduce the pollution in London and assist with the health of the youngsters and the elderly folk.
Sure. Well, Tony, obviously there are... This is a historic problem, which is basically that the government agreed a framework with the EU for reducing pollution and emissions without actually discussing it at all with us, who had to deliver it. And so we're potentially liable for this £300 million fine, as you know, when really it should have been negotiated, I think, bilaterally between London and Brussels. That is not, unfortunately, possible under the way that the community works at the moment. We're doing a lot, but there are measures that I think the government should be funding, because they, frankly, either other European administrations got a better deal thanks to the superior negotiations of their government. I think I'm right in saying I think there are derogations in other cities that we don't have, and therefore I think it would be fair if the government supported us more in what we're trying to do. But, you know, we're putting in the LES Phase 3, which is an extremely ambitious programme, difficult for lots of people to comply with. I think we're going about as far as we can go. Isabel, is there anything else I need to say on?
Well, let me just, Boris, if I can, let me just qualify, just in case I never got this correct. There's no criticism about what's been done, what is taking place now, but there is so much more to do that we can't do to reduce pollution levels in London as a direct result of funding. That somebody somewhere has got to find that funding. Well, okay, you've gone to government. What's the response of government? Are we doing enough in government to emphasise this particular point?
Well, we have made repeated representations to government. I mean, Isabel, do you want to just remind the board of what the specific measures that we would like government to fund to improve air quality. So
There's a whole range of policy interventions also that would be more effective for central government, not even apart from a funding question. And actually, somebody was pointing out to me that the revenues from the government's fuel duties are going to drop precipitately over the next 5 to 10 years because the cleanliness of the fleet is increasing very dramatically. So actually, they've got an issue. Osborne's got an issue, which is that he's got to figure out where he's going to get that tax revenue from, because they have never been prepared to talk about the tax regime because they didn't want to compromise tax receipts. But actually, tax receipts will be heavily compromised anyway because of the nature of the fleet, so we're going to sell a lot less fuel, basically. So it's actually timely to sort of, I think, pursue that particular line. But we've been to see ministers, I mean, I don't know, at least half a dozen times at a very senior level. Part of the problem is the issue vests with DEFRA, but they have no money themselves. They don't have
Tony's question is, what is the specific things that we want funding for that we can't do at the moment? What are the specific things?
There's a whole range of things. I'm happy to send you the list, but there's sets of things that we could do that would be funded by government. There's things they should do that would be funded by government, and there's policy interventions that they should be making. There's probably 30 things on the list, but the point is.
Can I suggest that list is made available to Shiakrig's next?
That's fine, but I think the issue about what more could be done. I think any thoughts on that subject would be welcome. I think what we've done is we've shifted tack from DEFRA to DFT because they've got a bigger budget, and a lot of things these decisions are more directly within their remit, and they've actually, ironically, been much more receptive to the conversation. But I think there is, any further pressure that could be brought to bear. I think we've sort of run out of ideas in terms of, you raise this at a certain level of seniority, you expect to.
One thing is important is that the package of measures that we put forward, if you remember this over the last couple of years, have found favour with Brussels. So the threat of the immediate threat of the £300 million fine was lifted because they looked at all the things we were doing with dust suppressant and with new vehicles and with the age limits for taxis, all these very tough things that we had to bring in, and Les Phase 3, and they bought it. So we're making a lot of progress on our own bat. I think what that report is trying to say is that if the government did the decent thing, it would make it really possible for us to be fully in compliance with the EU regulations that the government agree. That's, I think, what we're getting at. Okay.